Creators, protectors, destroyers. This is Vaaksh, where the gods speak.
I am Kartikeya. I am Murugan. I am Skanda. I am the warrior of the gods, the commander of the celestial armies, the vanquisher of darkness. My story is not one of mere birth, but of destiny, of divine purpose, of a war waged against the forces of chaos itself. The universe was in turmoil. The demon Surapadman, filled with arrogance and unchallenged power, spread terror across the three worlds. Neither gods nor mortals could stand against him, for he had received a boon that made him invincible against all except a child born of Shiva himself. But Mahadev, lost in deep meditation, had closed his heart to the world. Without his divine energy, there would be no savior, no warrior to rise against the demon's tyranny. The gods trembled, for they knew only I could be the one to restore balance. And so, the great deities gathered, seeking a way to awaken Shiva from his trance. It was then that my mother, Devi Parvati, took form as the radiant goddess Kamakshi, her beauty and devotion piercing even the deepest meditation. At last, Shiva's divine energy was stirred, and from the sacred fire of his third eye, a brilliant spark was born. This was no ordinary flame, it was pure celestial power, the very essence of war and righteousness. But such energy could not be contained in a single womb, nor could it be placed in mortal hands. The gods carried the divine spark to the sacred river Ganga, entrusting her with its care. The waters embraced the fire, cooling its intensity, guiding it toward its destiny. And from the river I was born, not in a mother's embrace, but in the heart of the divine itself. The 6 celestial stars that formed my being were nurtured by the 6 divine mothers, the Kartikeyas, and thus I became Kartikeya, the son of the stars, the warrior forged in the fires of divinity. Even as an infant, my presence radiated power. The heavens trembled, the demons stirred, for they knew their time of dominance was at an end. The gods rejoiced, for they saw in me the fulfillment of a prophecy, the birth of a leader who would bring righteousness where there was none. But my journey was only beginning. I was not born to remain a child. I was born to fight, to lead, to stand where no other could. The time had come for me to embrace my destiny. Destiny had chosen me, but a warrior is not made by birth alone. Strength is forged in fire, wisdom is honed through experience, and a leader is tested before he commands. I was not born merely to hold a weapon. I was born to master war itself. And so my training began. From the moment I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by divine forces who prepared me for my purpose. The greatest of sages, the most powerful of gods, the forces of nature themselves, they became my teachers. Agni, the fire god, taught me the power of endurance, showing me how to harness flames not as destruction, but as purification. Vayu, the wind god, made me swift, teaching me to strike before the enemy could even see my movement. Indra, the king of the gods, tested my might in battle, pushing me to conquer not just opponents, but my own limits. And Shiva himself, my divine father, bestowed upon me the knowledge of celestial weapons, the art of strategy, and the strength to wield power without being consumed by it. But beyond the weapons, beyond the skills, I learned the greatest truth of all. A true warrior fights not for conquest, but for Dharma. A battle is not won with brute force, but with discipline, with clarity, with the understanding that war is not destruction, but the means to restore balance. I was not training to become a destroyer. I was training to become a protector, a leader, the commander who would stand at the forefront of righteousness. And then the moment came. The gods, the rishis, even the celestial beings of the heavens gathered. It was time for me to ascend to my rightful place. With the blessings of the divine, I was anointed as the Senapati, the commander of the armies of the gods. The responsibility of leading the celestial forces was now mine, and with it came the duty to uphold Dharma, to defend the innocent, and to vanquish the darkness that plagued the universe. But my true test was yet to come. Surapadman, the tyrant who had spread fear across the three worlds, had to be confronted. His power was great, his armies vast, his arrogance unmatched. But I was ready. I had been forged for this very battle. With my spear, the Vel, gifted by my mother Parvati, I would strike down the forces of darkness. With my wisdom, I would lead the gods to victory. With my devotion to Dharma, I would bring justice where there was none. The time had come. The battlefield awaited. The war for balance, for righteousness, for the very survival of the heavens was about to begin. The time for words had passed. The heavens had trembled for too long under the shadow of Surapadman's tyranny. The gods had waited, their strength waning under his rule. But I, Kartikeya, had come to fulfill my purpose. I stood at the head of the divine army, my spear, the Vel, burning with celestial power in my grasp. The war for righteousness had begun. Surapadman was no ordinary demon. He had conquered the three worlds, binding gods in chains, forcing mortals into submission. He was fearless, for he believed he was untouchable. He believed no force could rise against him, but arrogance is the weakness of all tyrants. And I was the force he had never foreseen. With the war cry of the gods echoing behind me, I rode forward on my divine peacock, Parvati, cutting through the skies like a streak of lightning. The demon hordes swarmed toward me, their roars shaking the very fabric of existence, but I did not falter. With a single strike of my spear, the first wave fell. My army clashed with the forces of darkness, divine weapons illuminating the battlefield like a storm of fire and thunder. The war raged for days, each battle more fierce than the last. I faced Surapadman's mightiest generals, each one a beast of destruction, wielding powers stolen from the heavens themselves. They sought to break me, to overwhelm me with numbers, to wear me down with endless waves of attack. But I was born for war. Every strike of my Vel shattered their illusions of victory. Every move I made was swift, precise, unstoppable. The gods fought alongside me, their faith in me unshaken, for they knew the battle was turning. And then the moment came. Surapadman himself emerged, his form towering, his aura burning with dark energy. He laughed, mocking my efforts, believing that even I, the warrior god, could not stand against his power. But I did not speak. I did not threaten. I only raised my spear and charged. Our clash shook the very cosmos. He unleashed storms of destruction, hurling mountains, summoning the fires of the underworld itself. But my Vel, blessed by my mother Parvati, cut through them all. His weapons shattered, his confidence wavered. He realized he was no longer the hunter, he was the hunted. And then, with one final unstoppable strike, I split his very being in two. But I did not strike in vengeance. I did not slay for the sake of death. I offered him mercy, transforming him into a divine being, making him the vehicle of my presence, so that even a demon once lost to darkness could find redemption in my service. Such is the path of Dharma. Even in destruction, there is transformation. Even in war, there is wisdom. With Surapadman's fall, the heavens were restored, the gods were free. The universe was in balance once more, and I, Kartikeya, had fulfilled the duty for which I was born. But my journey did not end with war. My purpose was far greater. I was not just a warrior. I was a teacher, a guide, a beacon for those who sought the path of knowledge and enlightenment. The battlefield had fallen silent. The cries of war had faded, and peace had returned to the heavens. But my purpose did not end with victory. I was not born only to wield weapons, not created only for war. My true duty was far greater, to guide, to enlighten, to show the way to those who seek wisdom. For knowledge is the greatest weapon of all. It is sharper than any sword, stronger than any army. A warrior may win battles, but only wisdom can win over time itself. And so, I, Kartikeya, became not just a commander, but a guru. a teacher to those who wish to understand the deeper truths of existence. Many sought my guidance, but among them was one whose wisdom already surpassed the ordinary. It was Brahma himself, the creator of the universe, who wished to impart his knowledge to me. He came to me with his teachings, speaking of scriptures, of sacred verses, of divine truths written in the Vedas. He believed I would listen, that I would accept his wisdom as it was given. But I, Kartikeya, do not follow blindly. I do not accept without questioning. For true wisdom is not in memorizing words, it is in understanding their meaning. And so, when Brahma began reciting the Vedas, I asked him, "Tell me, O Creator, do you truly understand the meaning of what you teach?" He was taken aback, for he had never been questioned in this way. And when I asked him to explain the meaning of Om, the primordial sound of the universe, he hesitated. For even the Creator himself had not fully grasped its depth. I then turned to my father, Mahadev, the great Shiva, and asked, "Do you know the meaning of Om?" And Shiva, in his infinite wisdom, smiled. "You are the only one who truly understands it," he said. "For you are Tat Purusha, the one who sees beyond the surface, beyond illusion." Thus, I became the guru of even the gods. I became Swaminatha, the Lord of true knowledge. My lessons were not of rituals, not of blind traditions, but of experience, of realization, of inner awakening. I taught that wisdom is not learned, it is discovered within. That devotion is not in mere prayer. It is in action, in living righteously, in seeking the truth without fear. This is why I am worshipped as Murugan, the god of knowledge, the teacher of wisdom, the pathfinder for those who seek enlightenment. Those who call upon me do not do so only for strength in battle, but for clarity in life. For victory over ignorance is the greatest victory of all. And so, my journey continues. Not on the battlefield, but in the hearts of those who seek the truth. For the war between light and darkness is eternal, not just in the world outside, but within the soul of every being. And I, Kartikeya, forever stand as the guide, the warrior, and the teacher, the one who leads the way.